What up, bitches? It's the MisanthropikOne, aka He Who Hungers, and I'm back up in this bitch for another rant/review. Today, I want to talk about Klive Kraven's latest album called The Last Days of Mountain Man. For those of you who aren't subscribed to me, Klive Kraven is one of these artists that I do promo for, and he runs Gold-Minded Records. Shout out to Klive Kraven for sending over the shirt, the CD, poster, and a bunch of other shit. But check my other videos on Klive Kraven. I've talked about him a hell of a lot. He represents the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Dope producer / MC. His style is very brutal. He mixes a little bit of horrorcore, gangsterism shit, and a little bit of thug and street shit in his raps. With the exception of this album, he goes a little bit outside his element. It's still a brutal album, don't get me wrong, but I'll explain a little bit more on content, then you'll understand it all come full circle. Let me talk about some of the production on here. Like I said before, Klive Kraven is a producer as well as an MC, so he produced most of the fucking tracks on this bitch. He's also a member of Anno Domini Beats. That's a great group of producers, guys. Check those motherfuckers out. They make some dope hip-hop beats. Let me mention some of the producers on here. You got Verbal, who's also a member of Anno Domini Beats. Not too sure on that. I'm like 70% sure. Don't quote me on that. You got Nutcase. You have Pick. Sean Strange. Shout out my nigga Sean Strange, by the way, doing big things. You got Fizzwatt and Undefined. So those are all the producers that help out on here. There's 22 tracks. Klive Kraven does most of them. He reached out to a few other producers and they delivered on here. Beat wise, this shit is ill. Features, I'm gonna go into the features. Most of these guys are all Gold-Minded affiliated artists, with the exception of a few. You got Absolute Carnage, Past One, Anonymix, Wise Minds, Prime Prolific, True Grit, Donnie Menace, La Dog, Formaldehyde, King Magnetic. Shout out my homie King Magnetic. Nutcase, Ed Bundy, Supreme, Alzheimer's, Kinetic from Kill Army, C-Rayz Walls, the legendary C-Rayz Walls, and Klive. So there's a few features on here. Most of them buddied up on tracks, so it's not all spread out. Like I said, there's 22 tracks on this shit, and there's a nice amount of features to balance it out. Not too much, but just enough to make it listenable and enjoyable. So these motherfuckers did their thing on there. Now let's get into concept, which really makes this album what it is. Concept and content. This album has a strong Western feel to it. And when I mean Western, I don't mean like West Coast hip hop. I mean like old school spaghetti Western type shit, you know, like cowboys and Indians and shit like that. it's never been done in hip hop, and I gotta give it to Klive Kraven for creativity and originality for making this album. And this one, out of all the ones in the trilogy, has the strongest Western influence, and I mean that from the beats to the lyrics. Klive Kraven knew what he wanted when he was picking some of these beats. You know, it's his album, so he's gonna know what he wants. But I was also surprised that some of the outside influence that put in some of these Western type beats, you know, over hip hop. I was surprised at the samples and all of that. So that makes this album an original all on its own, and I fucking love that about this album. It feels like you're listening to a hip hop, or watching a hip hop Clint Eastwood Western movie. You know what I mean? Like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, just like a hip hop version of it. And this could be the soundtrack to that shit. That's the strongest fucking thing about it. Like I said, with the features, they all came on surprisingly. They did their thing. They all grasped the concept immediately, spit some wicked shit. Everything down to the vernacular was Western, and wow, I was really surprised at this thing. And again, for this thing having 22 tracks and being as solid as it is, I mean, fucking ill. Shout out to Klive Kraven once again for doing that shit. Love a lot of tracks, standout tracks on here. Last Days of Mountain Man, Rawhide Roughnecks, What I've Been Through I like, Every Man Is a Liar, just based on the title. You know I like that fucking song. Gambler's Vendetta, that track I love, because it has King Magnetic on there. King Magnetic's one of my favorite underground rappers, and it just fits, you know. I guess, you know, because he has that Everything's a Gamble series, excuse me, and he just fit right into Gambler's Vendetta. I mean, it just fits his persona, so that's ill. Shit, I loved a lot of shit on here. I could name every fucking track, but Saloon Slumdogs I fucking loved. That was a dope posse cut from Kinetic, C-Rayz Walls, and Clee Major as the features, and they all came on. They all fucking did their thing on there. What else do I have to talk about? Showdown at Sundown featuring Nutcase. I never really talked about Nutcase like that, but I love that motherfucker's voice, man. Dope, gritty fucking hip-hop voice, and definitely unique. Yeah, just listen to some of the titles of this shit, you know. My Own Bordellos, Wilderness Wanderer, Desperados, I said Rawhide Roughnecks, Saloon Slumdogs. A lot of this shit, even down to the titles, follows the concept of Western shit, cowboys and Indians, shit like that. So Klive really gets an A+ for effort in that aspect. I can't really complain too much about this album. It really is a solid fucking album. One thing though that I will say, I felt that on some of the tracks, I forget which ones, that Klive is actually harmonizing on some of the hooks or whatever. I felt that if Klive Kraven added a little bit of that Western drawl, if you know what I'm talking about, in some of them old ass Western songs that these motherfuckers will be playing with a banjo, like in front of a saloon or whatever, or on their horse. Yo, if he added a little bit of that Western drawl to it, that would have really solidified this shit. We really would have captured the full fucking essence. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, there's really not too much bad I can really say about this shit. Some of you, it might take some getting used to, because I know the combination of that style of music and hip hop, it might throw some motherfuckers off, but it's good. Take it from me, it was done real well, and especially taking the risk of going out to other producers and saying, listen, I need a Western fucking hip-hop beat, you know, shit that's unheard of, and it coming together like it did, shit, that's it. It really did come together solid. That's all I gotta fucking say. My rating of this shit, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Fucking solid album, dope listen. 22 fucking tracks, some of them skits, but you can't go wrong, man. Shout out to my nigga Klive Kraven, like I said. Keep me posted on what the fuck is going on. I also got this from Klive Kraven, which is a dub station. Picked that up. It's an instrumental, dubstep instrumental shit that he produced exclusively. And yeah, check it out. Go on GoMinderRecords.com. I'll leave the link in the description box. Check that shit out. Alright? Everybody else, y'all know the deal. Leave your love, leave your hate. Most of all, subscribe. Support dope shit. Alright? Peace, bitches.
Set them apart from the savage hordes.